Hello, welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to discuss Maya 2017 UV tools. I really like the new tools because it's easier to UV and it's the fastest way to do UVs as well, but if you know what you're doing. So I'm going to show you the certain techniques I use to do UVs in Maya 2017, and it also makes my pipeline to go faster as well. So let's work on this piece first and we can go from there. And so go to the UV editor by go UV and UV editor, and you got it here. So once you have it here, you should have this two panels. Sometimes it won't show, so you just go here and say toolbar and it just pops out here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select everything and right click, shift right click, and go mapping, planar mapping. So what it does, it just planar maps, based on the angle you have mapped it. So I'm not worried about it because it just gives the basic shape of it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut the seams. So I go to perspective view and I'm going to say cut this edge. So shift right click and say cut. Go here, I'm going to cut this as well. Cut. So sometimes you can't see the seams here. If you want to, you can go to display and I think it should be somewhere here, polygons, and it's called crease edges, I believe. No, bar edges. Nope. There is one option. I don't remember, guys. So I'm just gonna try to texture board edges. Sorry. There you go. You got it. Hello, guys. Welcome to this Maya 2017 tutorial. I'm gonna discuss the UV tools in Maya 2017. I really love it because it's really easier to lay out UVs. So I'm gonna show you all the tools I use to UV it really faster and in an efficient way. And I just want to thank Autodesk for bringing the new features because it makes the life so easier. So I'm gonna UV this piece and we can go from there. To go to the UV editor, so go to UV editor and you get this menu. So you should have two panels, like the grids and the toolbar. So if you don't see the UV toolkit, you can go view, and if you say toolbar, it's going to show up. It's right there. And to start, whenever I do UVs, I start with mapping my UVs using planar mapping. So what I do, I select everything and shift right click, mapping, planar mapping. So I have something as a base here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to try to create crease edges on this geo. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the edge mode and just double click on it, and it selects everything, the edge which is connected to it, and I go here, shift right click and say cut. So if I see my geo now, wireframe shaded, you see the the border edges shows, the seams shows up here. Sometimes if you don't show up in your Maya scene, what you do is you go to display, polygons, and say texture border edges. So it's going to show up here. So same thing, if I go here and say right click, shift right click, cut. So I'm literally cutting all the seams here as well. Shift right click, boom. So I'm going to separate this piece as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all those. So I'm also holding on shift, so I have the last selection selected as well. So what I'm doing is I'm holding on shift and clicking on one edge and double click on it. So once you click on it, so it's gonna select all the edges connected to it. So I'm going to say shift right click, cut. So now if I go UV and if I say unfold, So it's gonna pop up this. It's not bad. So what I'm going to do, this piece doesn't show us around because like I didn't create a seam. So what I'm gonna do, in Maya 2017 you can isolate faces as well. Before you can do it, so you can also use I use Shift I to isolate. So now I go here and Shift right click and cut. So if I cut it, and it's gonna, let's say, unfold. Boom. See, now if you see, just by doing unfold, it gives like a really good UVs. So if you want to see the grids, before you have to assign a texture to a piece, so to show the UV space in the grid. So now they have some here called checkerboard. If you click on it, it's going to show up here. So it's really nicely, you know, laid out. But see, there is a spacing issue. This grid is smaller and this is bigger. So I'm going to show you the easiest way to fix that. Before, you have to literally, you know, go to this piece and you have to scale it down. But in 2017, there's a way to do it. So, but before fixing it, I'm going to fix this piece. So for everything you do, you could literally hold on Shift, right click, and move into edges. That's it. So I'm going to select everything, move into edges. So I'm going to say unfold again. Boom, it's there. And I'm also going to fix these pieces as well. So I'm going to literally holding on Shift, right click. So this is also really transparent. The light blue line is not visible here in my screen. Shift, right click, cut. I think there is one inside. Shift, right click. So this edges, I'm gonna fix it as well. So if you want to see the colors, you can also do this as well. This piece is kind of weird, I don't know why, so I'm gonna see what happened there. Okay, so I have to create a seam here. You can also literally do it here as well. So what I'm gonna do, Shift, right click, cut, and I'm gonna give a seam here as well. So if I double click on it, it's go all the way there, and I say Shift, right click, cut. So let's unfold this. Boom. So now I have a beautiful texture layer out for me. And if I go to grid, still there's a spacing issue. I'm gonna fix it as well. I'm gonna see this one is like really bigger. I'll show you how to fix this. So let's say I want this piece to be like really close in my renderer. So let's say I'm gonna give 4K to it. So I'm gonna scale it as big as possible. So I want like this piece should be one part of the big piece should be in one UDIM. And if you don't know about UDIM, just do a research, and maybe I'll do some tutorial about UDIMs. So now I scale everything out. So I want to make sure everything is scaled down to this size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transform. I go all the way down near the tools and I say get. So the value I get, that's more important. 19 point. So what I'm going to do, save custom value. So it's going to save the custom value here. So it's easier to. And so that's 19 point. This piece is laid out at 19.13. So I want other pieces to be 19.13 as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm select everything and I'm going to say set. So I just matched this value to this value as well. So if I go to my geo and see the UV grid, everything is equally spaced. Exactly. That's it. Boom. So before, in Maya you have to literally move your pieces in the UV grids, but in Maya 2017 there's a way to do it. Something popped up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to close this transform, and I'm going to go align, arrange and layout. See this value 0.01. So when I click this, it says distribute rightwards along U. So what happens, all the pieces I UV'd, it's going to be aligned on the U values, like along U. I mean like this side. But it should be doing the distance from 0.1. So the distance between this piece and this piece will be 0.1. So once I hit it, you'll see, boom. So if you see the distance between this piece and this piece is 0.1. Let's say if I want to really tighter. So what I'm going to do, 0.5. I've just changed it. Boom. So now I could literally go here. Maybe here. It's better to have my pieces in the middle, so I don't want to cut a seam in the middle. So what I'm going to do is there's also another thing. If you see, these pieces are in an angle. Before in Maya you have to do literally, adjust it manually, but in Maya 2017 there's option here, arrange and layout. So what do you do? Orient shells. This is an angle because Maya doesn't know which angle it need to snap. So sometimes what I do is I just cut this edge and move it so. So now if I orient shell, this is perfectly straight. So I could do literally the same thing to all my pieces as well. So I'm cutting out everything. I'm saying move and sew edges, and you can literally hit G. It just Maya repeats the last action. So now if I go here and I say orient shells, orient shells, orient shells, boom. So everything is straight now. So, and I'm pretty sure that the spaces are perfect as well. So I could literally I'm not worried about the seams, because what I'm like, I literally texture everything in Mari, so I'm not worried about like where I'm cutting the seams, because I can paint it out. That's a beautiful thing about Mari. But I'm going to show a lot of a Mari tutorial as well. Actually, you can also cut this in a different half and you can put it here as well, but I'm not a big fan of it, so I'm going to leave it here. So if I go to my Maya now, let's say I'll show the UV grids. There you go, guys. It's perfectly, all spaces, all the grids are same and everything is there. I UV'd out maybe like in 10 minutes. This will take for at least like a lot of time if I'm doing it 2016. and it also, you know, perfectly laid out in a UV as well, like in a UDIM as well. So some people might ask, so I did this, so how do I do the other pieces? So I'm going to show you as well. Let's say this piece, I'm going to do this piece, I'm going to hide everything, this one on this one. So there's other trick I learned. So if I select these two pieces, and if you hold on shift and you select everything, it deselects those pieces and select other pieces. So now I go to EV editor and the same concept. So what I'm going to do, create a base, planar mapping. So now I'm going to create the UV seams. So I'm going to scale it down so you guys can see it. So I'm isolating it. Oh, isolated it. So I'm going to turn off the grid so I can see the mesh. This one too. So literally I'm going to just selected the seams and I'm saying it's cut. So now I'm going to unfold. Let's see how it looks like. Boom. It's really faster, and there is something. So this is not UV'd properly because when you unfold it, it didn't. Okay, so the other mistake I did was, because this is different from this, because when you go to unfold option, oh, it is back. Let's say you just want to unfold this UV, just this piece. So what do you say? You uncheck pack, and if you say unfold, it unfolds it. But this is perfect. So okay, I'll show you how to do that. So let's say this is the piece. So if I say so it's gonna only do that piece. That's another trick I learned. And so now what I'm gonna do, I think this is, I want this to be like one piece and just have like a one big piece, like a rectangular piece. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do the same thing again. Go to planar mapping and just go here, select that piece at the end and do the same thing here. I say cut. So now if I unfold it, it's not gonna give the result I want. Hopefully it doesn't crash. If you see, it's thinking here. So I know it's gonna mess up because I know it's gonna happen. But what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna create a seam at the back so I don't have to see it. So when I select these edges, it's gonna go across all the edges. So I'm gonna control deselect those edges and shift right click and cut it. So now if I unfold it, boom, you see. So now it's not packing because we unchecked the packing option. So if I go and check back my option, if I hit, there you go. So it's kind of messed up my so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna attach that piece. So once up, there you go. But now if I do unfold again, boom. So now I have a good big piece and I have this as a separate piece. I'm not worried about it. But now there are like three details I have here. So I'm going to separate these pieces from this panel. There is also another way to do this really faster. What I do usually is, if I'm working, what I'll do, I just go and select one side and delete it. So I'm doing half of the work. I'm not doing, twice. say I'll do that. So I'm going to separate those pieces. Now, if I go and unfold it, boom, there you go, guys. It has a nice. So this piece is kind of like off now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select that piece. I'm gonna scale it down. Interesting. So unfold it again. Oh, I kind of messed it up. So boom. So now I have the shape, so I could literally join this. Okay, there you go, guys. So what I'm going to do now, I can mirror this piece on -X. Control A to see the channel box and say -1 and freeze the transformation. It's going to freak out and it's going to be red because it's flipped. So select everything, shift right click and say flip. Boom, it's done. And put it this side and go to object mode and combine both. And vertices and merge vertices. And there you go. So now I'm going to connect this to as one piece. I'll show you everything. So select this one and the last one and say move and sew edges. Boom. So then you can double click on it and say move and sew. So now you select everything and then say unfold. Boom. So now if you see the grid, if you go and check the grid, I'm going to show you guys. Now if I turn on the grid, it's equally spaced and it's perfectly awesome. And if I isolate again, so if I select this one and this one, you see there's a difference between the spacing of the grids. So to fix that, what I do, I go to face mode, select everything, and go to transform, not transform. Go to align and transform. Go to transform, and you see we got the values. So make sure you have 19.13 when you get the value from unwrapping this piece. So have the same value there, or else you can. I saved the custom value, so you can also do that too. So once I have that, so I select everything. I say set. So boom. So it's exactly the same UV space, like the same space now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select everything. I'm going to go to arrange and layout and do that. Boom. So it literally did that for me. So I could literally take this and over here. Okay, let's have it there. I'm just deselecting by control and double clicking on it, and boom, there you go. So if you see now, I have this perfectly unwrapped, but I'm gonna make sure that, so if you want to move every UV, like this geo in every UDIMS, what you're gonna do is you could go to move and say 1. So if I click on this one, it's gonna move on the next UDIM. So I'm gonna move a little bit that side as well. So if I select this both, boom. So now it's UV'd out properly in the UDIMS. There you go, guys. This is Maya 2017, and I think you learned quite a thing or two. This is how I do on my UVs, and it's really faster in Maya 2017. If you have any questions, you can write me, and I will happy to reply you back. And I also make a video if anything you want in UVs as well. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and comment below. That motivates me to do more. Thank you, guys.